So, fantastic opportunity to catch up with our guests today. We've got Jane Swift, who's the Deputy Head Teacher down at Granby Primary. Welcome, Jane. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
That's all right. Very welcome. Anna and Mel have been very positive about your school and the engagement of what you guys do down there. So we thought we'd take the opportunity to catch up with you today so you could play an active role in our active travel newsroom next week. So just tell us a couple of things that I want to talk to you about. One is your summer cycle ride last year. Just tell us a little bit about that, because that's become something that's quite interesting to me to find out about.
Yeah, it's become quite a big community event. So it started, I don't know how many years ago, actually, probably, I can remember doing probably 8 or 9 years now. And our previous head, Peter Fowler, set it up. It was his idea. And the idea was that children and their families can start a bike ride at Granby, cycle down the Great Central Way, go to the park at the end of it, going in towards town, and then cycle back again. And then when the children get back to school, they can have a barbecue. And so some staff are along the route and some staff are at the park at the bottom, and some staff are cycling as well with the children, and parents are all encouraged to join in. And then some staff are back at school preparing the barbecue, and then they all come back and have a big barbecue. Usually it's really, really hot and sunny. I don't think it's been rained off at all, actually. So it is quite a big event. And Peter Fowler, our previous head, always championed cycling. It was really important to him. And I think the school have just kept that tradition going. So we haven't been able to do it, obviously, because of COVID. So we've had a year out of doing it. And some of the children scooter as well, and we try and get all the sort of young children involved with parents, but it's become quite a big community event. Yeah. It's really good fun.
It's very interesting, because being able to catch up for this newsroom and also the newsroom for International Women's Day, the Sustrans newsroom we did in partnership with Mel and Anna, it's interesting talking to teachers, and particularly head teachers, and you yourself being a deputy. There's that kind of role model to your staff as well as to the pupils. And I think also being able to take parents and governors, even schools have been talking about closing streets yesterday and having the neighbours involved. It really is, you've got to take everybody on that journey, not just teach young people to bike ride. What do you think is one of the most positive things that comes out of those events that you've seen over the years for the school?
I just think the families being involved in it, and the school being part of the community, and being a community event, but the governors are involved. The governors come along on the bike ride, the governors come and help with the barbecue, and just having all of that school community there, but also seeing families cycling together and enjoying it. And in fact, our IT technician came with some old sort of CDs he'd found with pictures on the other day, and one of them was of one of the old cycle rides. And I've sort of put them on my computer and had a look through them, and just seeing some of our families from the past, and thinking of past pupils and past families, and looking at these little smiley, happy faces cycling past, and thinking that, you've sort of started a tradition, but hopefully got more families out cycling together and enjoying some time together.
Yeah. So Anna, just bringing you in here, and when you're working with your the other schools, or particularly schools that were new, isn't it? We've been trying to put out to people, if you're watching this and you're not doing it at the moment, please get in touch with you guys at Sustrans. You can make these things happen. Do you think people tend to think it's about the pupils cycling? They forget about the fact that they can include the staff and the governors and the parents and do these kind of things?
Yeah, I think all the best schools treat a school as a community. So it's looking at the parents, obviously the pupils, the staff, and trying where possible to kind of bring the people in around the school too. So that kind of wider viewpoint of what a school is, what it can be, who it can reach, I think is really important. And that example there is beautiful. I think that the whole of Great Central Way know when Granby are on their bike ride, and there's just big smiles everywhere. And a nice little link in, actually. So the original bike officer in Leicester was Dave Clasby, and he worked alongside Peter Fowler to set up the bike ride. So we're super chuffed and really happy that it's going to continue into the future. And as a parent at Granby, I can't wait until I can have a go. So I hope it does continue.
I can see you getting dragged in some kind of bigger role, actually, than just turning up as a parent. But that's me just making an assumption. The other thing I'd like to talk to you about, Jane, is your kind of active travel week that you guys did back in December, when it was quite famously cold. So just tell us a little bit about what was involved in that week.
Well, it was really good fun actually, because obviously we'd not been back that long after COVID. And I think we were planning to do it a little bit earlier, and then it got moved because there were quite a lot of things happening in school. And what we really wanted to do was do some events, do some fun activities for the kids, because obviously there's no trips, you know, there's no other events really happening in school, not many visitors coming in school. So actually quite a lot of the learning was classroom based. And so it was sort of really good to have a few different activities going on for the children to invest in and get excited about, and just sort of make it a bit more interesting than sat in the class just doing the lessons every day. And so it was a really good week to celebrate how we travel into school. And we'd been using our bike shelter from September. So we had the bike shelter still in use, and the children park their bikes and scooters in there every day. It was just a really fun week. The children like receiving the raffle tickets every day. So if they biked or scooted or walked to school, they got a raffle ticket, and they really look forward to that. We did lots of activities during the week about sort of bikes, the parts of bikes, repairing bikes, watched sort of clips and information that had been sent to us by Sustrans. They were really useful in providing the resources for us. And then on the Friday, we had a Be Bright, Be Seen day, which was really good actually, because it was starting to get dark. You know, it was dark in December, it was dark in the morning still. And so it was really nice to see them come in on that day in really, really bright fluorescent clothes, or just bright, colourful clothes. And then we just had an assembly celebration that was led by Sustrans for us. It was just a really fun day. And the children love travelling to school, either by walking or cycling or scootering. You know, they really do enjoy coming into school that way. Any children that tended to come by car, we talked about parking a few streets away and then just sort of walking the last bit, and then they still got a raffle ticket, so they didn't feel that they'd missed out. But it was a really good week about talking about road safety as well, and just helped us talk on the Friday about why it is really important to be bright and be seen. And then we ran a competition throughout the week as well, and Sustrans provided the prizes for that as well. So the children really enjoyed it.
Yeah, sounds good, doesn't it? I mean, Mel, just bringing you in here, I mean, it's been quite interesting, hasn't it, to interview like Jane today and various other people for this newsroom, but also the previous newsroom, where we've been talking to the adults about changing their own habits from, you know, not using the car every day to maybe cycling 1 to 3 days a week. We also need to be saying to young people, it's not about cycling all the time, it's about being active, isn't it? So it's cycling, scooting, you know, using your skateboard, whatever you're doing, walking, changing that. Do you think that the change in the messaging to young people around things like active travel to the adults, but just being active to young people, is starting to get through now?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think, as you know, I started the role in October, and so yeah, so bringing in and learning about the language and what language is effective, and how you can talk to people to really get them enthused and inspired about active travel. That's been really interesting learning for me. And I think, yeah, I think there is increased awareness of the benefits of active travel. And there's people who really understand both the physical benefits, the mental well-being benefits, the benefits to the community in terms of air pollution, and then obviously the wider benefits to the climate. I think there is that increased understanding and knowledge. But what was interesting with working with Granby is that they're able to keep all of that in mind during a massive pandemic disaster. And that, I think, is where some schools have maybe found it more challenging, because you know, with the pandemic, so much changed that for some people they found it difficult to sort of keep all of that in their minds, and also to have that wider understanding of why active travel might be actually even more important during the pandemic than at other times. And it'd be good to hear from Jane perhaps a little bit about whether you've got any words of encouragement to other schools who've found it more challenging to do that during this period, when they've got so many other priorities and pressures and new rules and everything. And yeah, it'd be good to hear why you felt able to continue and how important that was for you as well.
Yeah, I think it was really important to have that normality for children coming to school in the morning. And a lot of our parents do walk to school, and the children might scooter alongside the adults. And actually, some of our older children come to school on their own. So they walk to school on their own, they scooter or cycle on their own. And that's really important for their independence going forward, and to prepare them for secondary school. You know, if they've done the bikeability, it's really important that they practice their skills on a route that they know really well, to come to school now ready for secondary school. And so it's sort of important for us to keep those sort of normal things going. And actually, I think if you'd have sort of said, well, you can't use the sort of bike shelter, you'd have encouraged some more people maybe to use cars, but you'd have just sort of caused sort of a build-up of cars and parking in areas, and that would have created just an equal problem as maybe trying to use your bike shelter. We only have one bike shelter at Granby, but there doesn't seem to have been a huge queue outside it. We've had a staggered start. But we've not got a one-way system that means we can't use the bike shelter or makes it difficult. So we've just made sure that where the bike shelter is, the children can access it, they can put their bikes in every day, and that we're just encouraging people to come to school as they would normally, really. And for most of Granby children, that is walking or cycling or scootering. Most, not many people do come in a car because we haven't got much parking nearby either. And so actually that would have caused quite a few problems, with more and more people coming in cars would have cause problems. And actually you've got those big things outside the school, haven't you, encouraging people to cycle to school still. After the pandemic they all went up. We've got these big purpley coloured signs outside school encouraging people to be active on the way to school. So we just wanted to reinforce that, really.
Sounds like Jane's top tips could actually catch on, doesn't it? I mean, that's one of those weekly things that you come into, updating the pandemic with Jane Swift down at Granby. Now, Jane, normally at this point we bring the conversation to a close, but we've got something rather special for you. So I'm going to hand over to Anna and Mel to ambush you shamelessly on this Zoom call.
Do you want to go first, Mel?
Sure. So myself and Anna have been talking about just how Granby has stood out during this time in terms of your continuing commitment to active travel and your continuing engagement with us, and just the encouragement that the children have been getting to continue taking that sort of those healthy choices that's so good for their well-being in so many different ways. So Anna came up with a brilliant idea of a prize, which maybe she can tell you about and introduce. I think perhaps we'll see a little.
Yeah, so we hope this will be a fantastic prize for Granby. We have an amazing colleague called Lee Timmis, who is a superstar adventurer. He cycled all around the world over 7 years, and he is also a world record holder. So he's got the current world record for cycling across Europe in 16 days. So he is an amazing talker and inspiring, and I think the assembly that he'll be able to give to your children, I think, will be uplifting and encourage more children to maybe just get out on the bike at the weekend and enjoy some of the things Lee talks about. Mel and I had a little brief introduction of his talk, and it includes bears and moose and various other big animals that I'm sure the children will love to hear about. So we'd just like to say thank you for being the way you are and inspiring to us, but inspiring to other schools as well. So thank you very much.
Oh, can I just say thank you for all the support we get from Sustrans as well. We get lots of resources, lots of support. We know you're there for us to give us ideas and to give us prizes and to give us lots of things that we need to make it work and make it possible and make it fun for the children. So thank you very much.
Jane, congratulations. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
We've had Lee has recorded a small clip for you to play in the school as well. So I'll give you a run through of that now, and then we'll share that with you, and you can actually play it to the children. Okay, so I'm just going to share the screen now. Here we go.
Hello everyone at Granby Primary, and congratulations on being Sustrans Active Travel Superstars. My name's Lee Timmis, and I'm a world record breaking cyclist, and I've cycled around the world, and I'm your prize. Well, kind of. You don't get to keep me. But next month, I'm going to visit you virtually to share some of my experiences and adventures from my years on the bike and to do some questions and answers with you. Congratulations again, and I'm really looking forward to meeting you soon.
So we'll share that with you, Jane, and then you can send that round for the young people to look at. That sounds really good, actually. Yeah.
That's brilliant. Thank you. That's really great.
Okay, so just one final thing now, just to wrap up today, and when this goes out. I mean, what's your? I know you've given us some top tips there, but what's the main thing that you would say to another head teacher or deputy head teacher when it comes to cycling, not just having sort of bikeability or activities in school? I mean, is it a really good way of bringing the community together and on your doorstep, and also parents?
It is, yeah, just to get everybody really involved in it and to support all the children in learning to ride a bike as well. You know, obviously you've got the bike ability for 5 and 6, but then, you know, we have Anna who helps us get children who aren't very confident riding, cycling as well, which I think is really important. And just to get children really excited about riding a bike and spending time together and going on bike rides and just giving parents the information that they need to be able to do that, especially when we've got some really, really good bike rides near us. We've got the Great Central Way and we've got the new sort of route out to the Everard's place. So, you know, just to really get everyone involved in it and make the children excited, because I think all the children want to be involved in it and want to be excited about it. So, yeah, to get everyone involved, governors and parents and you know, to have events where people, you know, children can get excited. We also do the Year 6 bike ride as well that's arranged for us for the children that have done their bike ability, and the children just love the day out of school doing that. And so it can be quite hard work to arrange it sometimes, but it just really is worth it when you just see them enjoy it so much. So yeah, and especially we've got an eco club at Granby, and so you're really showing the children that, you know, we're not just talking about improving the environment, we're actually doing things and making steps together to help them be more environmentally friendly and to cycle and walk and be more active.
Brilliant. Well, thanks very much, Jane. Keep doing what you do, I think is keep on keeping on, I think is the term that we're after. And like I said, it's been great to be able to capture you today and also play that short film as well, because it sounds like you're doing some good stuff down there. I know Anna and Mel were really keen for us to try and do something and ambush you while we had you on the and I'm glad that no one interrupted you and knocked your door. So that's great.
No, not in the end. It's been lovely to talk to you.
Great. Thanks very much.
Thank you.